Well, you're ready to continue this story with chapter 43 of the book of Genesis. So we're into this story. Joseph has met his brothers for the first time in over 20 years. He accused them of being a spy. He's rattled their chains pretty good, basically. Now Simeon is in jail because he claimed they're spies and they said, we're not spies, but now they have to prove they're not spies by bringing their youngest brother to prove that he was left in Israel and come back. Jacob's pissed. He's just frustrated. He's stressed. He doesn't know what to do, but he doesn't want to lose Benjamin. So verse 4, chapter 43, let's get into this. So Jacob is persuaded to send Benjamin to Egypt. Joseph's brothers show respect to him. They all eat and drink together. So there's going to be prophecy fulfilled in this chapter. It's really fascinating. Verse 1, and the famine was sore in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, go again, buy us a little food. So it had been a while. I don't know exactly how long it had been, but it had been a while. So Simeon is in jail in Egypt the whole time, basically. So they took the grain that they bought, and they've already consumed it. Now they need to go back and buy more. So verse 3, and Judah spake unto him, saying, the man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. So Judah is telling his dad here, Dad, the governor of the land told us, don't come back unless you have your brother with you. Because if we go back and our brother's not with us, he's going to claim us as spies. We're all going to go to jail and probably get killed. So we can't go back to Egypt unless Benjamin is with us. We're stuck, basically. So verse 6, and Israel, or Jacob, said, wherefore dealt ye so ill with me as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother? He's like, why did you guys even tell him you had a brother? What's wrong with you? What's going on? Which is, you think about it, that's probably one of those frustration questions that Jacob is asking, because it doesn't matter that happened. When they were in Egypt, they were hungry. They were trying to just be honest guys and get the job done. They weren't thinking about Joseph or Benjamin or all this stuff. They were just thinking about they need to get food for the families and the animals and things. So when they were accused of spies, that kind of threw them off kilter. No, we're not spies. We're not spies at all. Not spies at all. We're honest guys. We're 12 brothers. There's 12 of us. Well, really, there's 10 of us here. One brother is no more, and our youngest brother is at home with their dad. And so Joseph's like, well, I don't care. You're spies. You guys are all going to jail, basically. And they're like, no, we're not. He says, well, then if you got to prove to me that you're honest men, prove to me by getting your other brother and bringing him here. So one of you has to stay until that brother comes with you the next time. If you don't bring him, don't bother coming back, basically, unless you want to be spies. So verse 7, and they said, the man asked us straightly of our state and of our kindred, saying, is your father yet alive? So here's something that's really interesting about verse 7. It's telling us more about the conversation they had with Joseph in the last chapter. So there's a little bit more to that story that we didn't get in the last chapter. So Joseph asked them in chapter 42, who are you? Where do you come from? And they're like, we're from the land of Canaan. We're 12 brothers. Is your father yet alive? They say that that's one of the questions Joseph asked them. Have ye another brother? So maybe he knew of Benjamin. He probably knew that Benjamin was really young at the time. So he's trying to fill this out. And they say, and we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, bring our brother down? So Judah and the brothers are going back to Joseph going, look, he asked us about you. He asked us about our family. We're just trying to answer his questions. How did we know he would make us bring Benjamin to him? We didn't know that. So that's kind of the argument that's happening here, basically. In verse 8, and Judah said unto Israel his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou, and also our little ones. I will be surety for him, meaning I will guarantee his life. I'll guarantee that nothing happens to him. Remember, this is Judah that is saying this. Judah was the one that had the idea of getting rid of Joseph in the first place. Okay? Not the first time Judah has sinned. He did repent of his other sin with Tamar, a few chapters ago. He says, if I bring him not unto thee, set him before thee, let me bear the blame forever. So he says, I will take on the blame for all of this. I will be responsible for this. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned the second time. Verse 11, and their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. So he's saying, let's provide this guy with a gift, kind of like a sacrifice and a gift to him to sweeten this deal up, basically. We got to get on his good graces, otherwise we're all going to starve to death. So verse 12, and take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it again in your hand, peradventure it was an oversight. So he's telling him, take the money that you got back with you to say, by the way, this was in our sacks. We don't know what happened. It must have been an oversight, but here it is. We're willing to pay double for the next set of grain. So they're trying to figure out, how are we going to get this to work out and not be destroyed by Egypt or this famine? Verse 12, take also your brother, and arise, go again unto the man. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother and Benjamin. So he's saying, we need to get Simeon back. May he send Simeon and Benjamin back. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. Jacob's got to be just torn with all this that's going on. He's got lots of wealth and land and animals. They're all starving to death. They're struggling. He lost Joseph, who was his firstborn from Rachel. He now might lose Benjamin. Simeon's in jail, sitting there for a long time. This is not a good situation, basically. This is not good. We need to, I'm sure he's just stressed to the hilt at this point. So what do you think? Put in the comments what you think about this. If you were in Jacob's shoes, how would you react? Like, what would you be thinking? What would be going through your mind in this kind of a situation? So verse 15, and the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. So they're back in Egypt to talk to Joseph. Verse 16, when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men home, and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. So Joseph turns to the ruler of his house, so kind of his right-hand man, kind of a deal. Hey, you see those guys over there? Take them to my house and prepare a feast for them. Basically, I'm gonna have lunch with them, basically. Verse 17, and the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. So the servant of the governor of Egypt comes to these guys going, hey, he said he wants you to follow me. We're going to go over to his house. And so they're like, oh, okay, we're going to follow you. And they go over and they find his house. It's probably a nice, fancy area, nice house and things. They're going to lay out this big meal for them. So this has got to be just like a mind trip for the brothers going, what is going on here? So verse 18, and the men were afraid because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, because of the money that was returned in our sacks, at the first time are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us and fall upon us and take us for bondmen and our asses. And so they're going, oh crap, we're being treated different. That could mean because they couldn't find the money we gave them. So because we got our money back, we're now going to be captured and punished and taken care of. They're going to deal with us separately from everybody else. This is not good, not a good thing. All right, so verse 19, they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, that's this person here, and they communed with him at the door of the house and said, oh, sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass when we came to the inn that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack. Our money was full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand. And other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food, We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. So they come clean. They think they're about to be busted from basically having their money back and having the food. So they never paid Egypt basically for it. They're coming clean in advance, going, hey, just so you know, last time we were here, we bought some grain, we took it with us, but when we got back, we found that we had the money. We got to the inn, the place where we were staying, we found the money was back in our sacks. We have no idea who gave us the money back, how that money got back in our sacks. We don't know what happened, but here is the money to pay for that original amount. We want you to have that, and we're also here to buy more food from you, basically. So this is in verse 23, and he said, this is the servant of Joseph's house, peace be to you, fear not. Your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. And so they're like, don't worry, we put it back. We were instructed to take care of that, basically. You didn't steal it from us. We know we gave it back to you, okay? And then they brought Simeon out at this point as well. So Simeon's now out of jail. Verse 24, the man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave them their asses provender. So washing of the feet is a ritual. The Savior put this ritual in place, ordinance, I should say, in place during the Last Supper. But back then, you got to realize it's dusty, it's dirty. You walk around, so you get a lot of dirt building up on your shoes. If you've ever been hiking in a dusty, deserty environment, you're going to have a lot of stuff. And so you walk into a house, you're going to get it all over the place. So, and sometimes you would go barefoot, or you just have a sandal on, which meant your foot was exposed. Just the bottom of your foot was insulated from the ground. So it was very common that you would show up and they would have some water, like a pan of water, and you would wash your feet to clean your feet so you're not tracking dirt and stuff all over the person's house you're in. And then he fed their donkeys, basically gave them food so the donkeys could eat. Verse 25, and they made ready the present against Joseph, came at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. So they realize we're here to eat dinner. We're eating with the governor. What is going on here? This guy hated us last time we were in town. And wait, we had our money? You gave us our money back? What is going on? Why did the guy treat us like this? And now he's treating us happy. What's happening here? So of course they're like, hey, we got this present for him, just let him know we got a present, a gift for him. So I'm sure they're just out of their minds at this point. I mean, could you imagine what this would be like? And if you want to put in the comments what you think too. What would that be like to be one of these sons of Jacob and going, what is going on here, basically? So verse 26, when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. So Joseph gets home after doing all the dealing and stuff. He comes in, it's about noon. He said he'd eat at noon, so this is like a lunch break. He shows up. They're like, hey, by the way, governor, here's a present for you that we brought to thank you, and we're bowing down to you. Now, if you remember, that was one of the dreams that Joseph had, was that his brothers would bow to him. So prophecy fulfilled. Took a little over 20 years for that to be fulfilled, but it happened right now. Basically, that's what's happening. Verse 27, and he asked them of their welfare, and he said, is your father well, the old man of whom ye spake? Is he yet alive? So he's going, how are you guys doing? He's treating them nice and kind. Verse 28, and they answered, thy servant, our father, is in good health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. So they're still paying their homage to Joseph, thinking this is the ruler. He's going to kill us or put us in jail if we don't play this nice. We gave him his money back. We want to buy more food. We're trying to be nice. Verse 29, and he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your younger brother of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. So he looked at Benjamin and said that, and they probably said, yeah, that is. Verse 30, and Joseph made haste, meaning he's probably running, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep. and he entered into his chamber and wept there. So he probably said, I'll be right back. And he got out of there. And he's crying, going, oh my gosh, that's my brother. Oh, wow. Holy cow. They brought him. They're alive. Dad's alive. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm meeting my brothers. Prophecy was just fulfilled. Whoa. Talk about an abundance of feelings that Joseph is experiencing at this point. Verse 31, and he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, set on bread. So washing his face, the Egyptians sometimes would wear makeup on their face, so I'm sure it kind of ran, so he had to probably take care of all that, clean himself up. Then he went out and he refrained himself, meaning he's not trying to be too overly anxious and things, trying to be reserved, and said, bring on the bread, let's eat. Verse 32, they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. Now, why would the Egyptians think it's an abomination to eat with a Hebrew? Could that be some racism maybe in there? Yeah, possibly. You have to realize, and this comes out of Clarke's Bible commentary, several Egyptian deities were represented by cattle, especially female cattle. So cattle was like a symbol of God to the Egyptians, okay? Since the Hebrews were herdsmen who slaughtered and ate cattle, regardless of sex, this practice would have been viewed by the Egyptians as a terrible abomination. Whatever the reason, Joseph seemed to respect the custom of Egyptians and Hebrews eating separately. So the Egyptians are like, you kill our symbol of God and you eat it. That's terrible. So there's a lot of religious animosity between them because the Hebrews didn't see cows as anything other than food, basically. They're animals, they're food. To the Egyptians, they were a symbol of God and they were sacred. And so they said, we can't eat with you. We can't deal with you, basically, because you are basically blasphemous as far as we're concerned. So that's why they eat separate. They don't eat together. Verse 33, they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, and the men marveled one at another. And so they sat kind of in order all the way down, and they're marveling. They're probably like, what is going on? We're eating bread. Whoa, we're being taken care of here. This is so crazy. This guy was mad at us last time. They're probably thinking there's got to be another shoe to drop. There's got to be another shoe to drop. Verse 34, and he took and sent messes unto them from before him, but Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. So they basically, he's saying, give food to these guys, give each guys this food, and he gave 5 times more to Benjamin than anybody else. So I'm sure the brothers are going, why is Benjamin getting so much? What's this connect? Why is this guy liking Benjamin? What is going on here? This is so crazy. So if you wonder what's going on here too, stay tuned for the next chapter. The next chapter is going to get more into this story as to what in the heck is going on here and when will Joseph finally reveal himself to his brothers. Stay tuned for that one.